Hey guys, today we are going to talk about which country you should pick to study abroad. So if you are someone who's planning to study abroad probably this year or next year, then this is a must watch video because I'm going to share and compare the tuition fees, the living expenses, the per hour wages that you can earn while you are on a student visa. So don't skip this video and watch till the end. First of all, we'll talk about that how much post-study work permit you can get in different countries. We are comparing USA, UK, Canada, Australia and Ireland. So first let's talk about USA. It has 4,000 plus universities and is home to 7 to 8 Ivy League universities in the world. They are extremely difficult to get into, but it's not impossible. So if you have a good profile, there is definitely a good chance that you can get into one of the Ivy League universities. It's a #1 study destination for international students, and USA's education is also #1 in the entire world because of the curriculum flexibility that they provide. So if you are someone who's planning to study subjects like marketing, human resources, international business, then it's a non-STEM program in USA in majority of the universities. So if you graduate from a non-STEM program, you will get just 1 year of stay back option. But subjects like any of the STEM related programs or subjects like marketing analytics, human resource analytics, management analytics, so wherever analytics is involved, then you will get it as a STEM program and you will be eligible to get a 3 years of post-study work permit. But the catch is that with the recent visa changes, once you are graduated, you will get 90 days to secure a full-time job in your relevant field. If you don't get it, then probably not get the 3 years of extended post-study work permit. So this has become one of the most important factor to consider if you are planning to study in United States. Now talking about Canada, it has 223 plus public and private universities, but out of which I only recommend to go to only the top 10 or maybe 12 universities. The rest maybe you can consider depending upon what your specialization is or whether you are planning to go for a bachelor's or a master's, then accordingly you can select. Normally I would suggest to study in the top 12 universities only because they almost cover all the fields. And Canada is definitely most affordable country right now if you compare with all other countries. And they provide safe and environmental culture. But with the current situation, I really don't recommend planning to go and study in Canada. But if you get into universities like University of Toronto, British Columbia, or University of Alberta, York University, then it's probably a good option that you can go and study in those universities. Otherwise, if you are planning to go to colleges like Lambton College, Humber College and all these, Flemington College, then they have a lot of international students. Specifically, they have a lot of Indian students. So I'm sure you are not looking forward to going in another country and studying with the same population. You are looking for more diverse culture. So that's why I will recommend to stick with the top 12 universities. Now in terms of the post-graduation work permit, Canada has a very different system. So if you are studying a course which is less than 12 months in a college, so let's assume that if your course is for 11 months, then you will get the post-study stay-back option of 11 months only. Plus you are going for a master's program in a university where it is a 16 months of program, then you can still get work permit up to 3 years. Now let's talk about UK. UK has some of the very prestigious universities like Cambridge and Oxford, London School of Economics, London Business School. But again, it's very difficult to get into those universities, but it's not impossible. And I highly recommend these 4 universities for a master's program. And for your bachelor's, you can consider schools like King's College London, Imperial Business School, Warwick or University of Manchester. These are pretty great for bachelor's and master's both. UK also offers flexible curriculum, but not, I would say, as flexible as USA. That's why I think majority of the students prefer to go to States and not to the UK. What is best about UK is that their master's program are of 1 year. So a lot of students who are not planning to go for 2 years or they cannot afford to spend for 2 years, I think going for a 1 year master's program in UK is very much the best option. But also not to forget that the UK job market is one of the difficult job market in the whole world. So if you are a fresher, please don't go to UK. I highly recommend having at least 2 to 3 years of work experience before going to UK. If possible, talk to the current students and try to get their feedbacks. You can find them and connect with them on LinkedIn. So far, according to my research and the students who went through me and I have spoken to them, they all have said that it's really better to go with few years of experience, and they also don't recommend it to go as a fresher. By the way, all of my students who went, they at least had minimum 1.5 years of experience. And after graduating from UK, whether you have done a bachelor's or a master's, you get 2 years of stay back option. Then if you would like to stay more, then you need to secure a sponsorship visa. Talking about Australia, where I am right now, talking about Australia's education it is not as flexible as US, but they focus more on the practical learnings than on the theoretical learnings. It also depends upon what subject you are studying. Australia has constantly been ranked in top 5 for the work-life balance, and it has more than 40 plus universities, public and private both. Again, I recommend going to the top 8 or maximum 10 universities. So top 8 universities would be the group of 8. Also, one of the best part about Australia, specifically about Melbourne, is that it offers world's largest free tram zone, and if you are living in the city or if you are traveling in the city, then you don't really have to pay for the trams. You can just get from one stop and get down at another stop without having to pay any fares. Talking about the post-study work permit for Australia, last year they have made huge changes. Someone who is studying a bachelor's program and it's not an honors degree, then they get 2 years of stay back option. But if you are someone who is studying bachelor's with honors program, which is of 4 years, and if you are studying a STEM related program, then you will get 3 to 4 years of stay back option. And also in honors degree, if you are studying, then there is a requirement of a particular GPA. So let's say, for example, if the GPA is out of 4, then you need at least 3 GPA to be eligible to apply for that extended post-study work permit. Someone who is studying a master's program by coursework, which means there is no research-based work, then you will get 3 years of stay back option. But if you are studying a master's with a research program, then you will get 4 years of stay back option. But also in terms of Australia, they put a limitation on the age. So if you are someone who is planning to study a master's program or any of the course after the age of 35, you can just study, but you cannot claim the post-study work permit. Now talking about Ireland, I recommend the top 3 or 4 universities to go. The tuition fees is very low compared to all the countries, even Canada as well. And the best part about Ireland is that they offer a huge amount of scholarships. The master's degree is same like UK. It's a 1-year program and you get 2 years of stay back option. Finally, let's compare the tuition fees, living expenses and the per hour wages for these countries. Starting with USA, their tuition fees for 1 year will start from somewhere around $17,000 till it can go up to $45,000 a year, depending upon what ranking or what level of university you are choosing to study. Next, Canada's tuition fee ranges somewhere around from $15,000 to $35,000 a year, but there are colleges that do provide courses under $15,000 for a year. Now talking about UK offers somewhere around from £13,000 to £40,000 a year. And for Australia, it will cost about $15,000 to $42,000 a year. Now for Ireland, it goes from 13 to 14,000 euros to 35,000 euros a year. Now these costs that I have told you is without any scholarships. If you get any 10, 15, 20, up to 50% scholarship if you get, then these tuition fees can get reduced a lot. Now comparing the living expense for all these countries, please note that these are the general living expenses. I am not talking about any specific city or a state. It is very subjective depending upon how you plan to stay, whether you plan to live in a shared accommodation or in a shared room as well, or you plan to live independently, it can vary. This is just the expenses that the embassies have mentioned that you need to show when you are applying for the student visa. Now an average living expense for USA will be somewhere from $1,500 to $3,000 monthly. For Canada, it will be around $800 to $2,000. For UK living expense, it can range from $1,000 to $2,300 or £2,500. For Australia, living expense will be somewhere around $1,200 to $2,500 monthly. And for Ireland, it will range from €900 to €2,000 monthly. Now let's talk about how much can you make while you are starting with USA. First of all, you are not allowed to work off campus. It's only under a condition if you have financial hardship, and you also need to take permission from the US immigration. And also the number of hours you are working off campus on your student visa, those hours will be deducted from your OPT. Roughly for an on-campus job, you may make somewhere around $15 to $17 an hour. In Canada, you can work on campus and off campus both. The per hour wage will range from somewhere around $14 to $19, $20 an hour. Okay, you can work for 20 hours a week, and UK generally pays about 7 to 12 pounds an hour. Now in regards to Australia, you can work 20 hours weekly, and you normally get per hour wage from $18 to $25 an hour. And in Europe, you can make somewhere around 10 to 15 euros an hour. Currently, the only two countries that are open for giving the direct permanent residency is Australia and Canada. However, these two countries have also reduced the immigration applications. So from 2025, they both have cut down on a lot of immigration applications that they will be accepting. But at least good that you get to apply by yourself, because in Ireland, UK and USA, once your post-study work permit is over, you will need a company who is ready to sponsor you so that you can stay back for at least 2 years, 3 years and sort out your permanent residency. All the countries have different requirements, such as for USA, you need to keep renewing your H-1B visa, and ultimately your company is the one who files for your green card. Whereas in terms of UK, you have to work on a sponsored visa for 5 years and then you are eligible to apply for the permanent residency, also known as leave to remain. And the best way to calculate your return on investment is first take the overall tuition fees that you will be spending on your bachelor's or a master's program. Then once you are about to graduate or you have got a job, or before even going you have researched, try to get the minimum salary that you can expect after graduating from so and so program, and deduct all the living expenses from your salary, and at the end of the year whatever amount you have saved will be your return on investment. So that way you'll have to calculate that if you pick that same amount that you have saved on the first year, if you keep on saving the same amount every year, of course it will be increasing when you get promotions or you get salary hike, but hypothetically take the same amount that you saved on the first year and keep on calculating it, and then compare that, okay, in how many years you'll be able to recover your investment. I highly recommend considering all these points. Even if you're not planning to apply for the permanent residency, please consider the immigration factor, that what is the situation before deciding on a country. Don't just rely on the education agents or even me for that matter. Do your own research as well, that whichever country you are planning to go to, if it's the best option for you or not. And one pro tip, always apply to at least 10 to 12 universities, whereas you are keeping dream universities, reach universities and safe universities as well, so that your options are wide. You can pick and choose whether any university has given you any scholarship or not, and that will, trust me, give you a lot of clarity in terms of that whether it's affordable or not. And I don't normally recommend taking 70, 80, 90 lakhs of loan, to be honest. Try to minimize taking an education loan. Try to get 50% of your savings, either yourself or from your family, and then get 50% of loan. But I hope this video helped you. If you have got any questions, comment down below. I will be answering all of them. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. Bye.